early. It's not even midnight. So I have to wait for Facebook to tell people. And I'm making costumes, and I'll show you guys what we're working on right now. So yeah. Because yeah. The natives come home, or I went to pick them up, and they're like, oh, we need costumes for tomorrow. What for? And they said they get to dress up or something for Halloween, but they don't really celebrate Halloween here, so I knew that was not accurate. And either way, we're making costumes. I'll show you something in a minute. Wait, what do we have done? The cape? The cape's kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool. How this is early for me, I feel a little bit weird. I don't know if you're actually here or not. Okay. All right. No, I'm just kidding. So, hey Charles, how are you? He has like the best voice ever. Like if you want someone to like read you something, or his voice is like all deep and stuff. Hi Jackie, thank you for joining. We are talking about today like how to actually get people to listen to you online, because there's so much noise in the market. We're going to be talking about that. And I usually don't go live right now, but I was just live in a group and didn't want to waste the makeup. I was like, shoot, I'm going to makeup. So I might as well go live right now. And yeah, then I've done my live for the day. My daily yay, if you will. Okay, yeah, and I'm working on costumes because the natives came home. And I picked them up from school. I just told the story, and they were like, "Yeah, we need costumes for tomorrow." And I don't know how many of you like know how I roll, but I make sure that my babies have like the best. The natives like they rock the costumes. They always win all the competitions and stuff, right? So I have to step up my game. Hey, Miss Debbie, I have the Yang Blast ready. The only reason it's not up and going right now is because I'm making costumes. So it's totally a native problem. But we're going to be talking about like the 10 reasons why you are totally invisible in the market, because I didn't know what else to talk about. So that's what we're talking about. But the Yay Blast is ready. I just need to get it uploaded. Oh, cool. Oh yeah, I can show you right quick. Let's see. This, and I make these all by hand, right? Like these are handmade costumes because they don't really sell costumes over here in Europe. Hey, Bridget! Okay, hold on. So this is the cape that I made, right? So it's like a vampire cape. And let's see. Hold on. And I made this. This is a corset I made for her vampire costume. And we're working on the wings for spring because she wants to be a pony called Nightmare Angel. Or no, wait. What's it called? Nightmare Luna? I don't know. But it's one of the ponies. Yeah, something like that. Oh, and I have her tail. Wait, hold on. And so here's her tail. You know, then it ties around her waist, and then this is her mane for the hair. Yeah, because that's how I roll. Okay, so, and I still have to sew Bliss's skirt and do like the bracelets and the knees, and thanks! You know what, they won the last competition, right? And so like, when they did the evaluation of the girls, like they have like these note binders. And when they did the evaluations for them, they put in their book, oh, their mom is so creative. I'm like, oh, damn. Because now, like, there's like this expectation that the kids are going to show up and like have something awesome. Oh, wait, the wings are ready. Hold on. They're not done. So here are the wings. for her, for spring. Yeah. So, and we have to make horns. Oh, the unicorn thingy. That right there. So we're working on this. See the unicorn? Okay. So, I don't usually come on this early, but let's just do it anyway. We're going to talk about 10 reasons why, oh, thanks. Yeah, it takes time, right? Like, I mean, those of you who didn't get to see the costumes, like, go through the thing. If you look on most of you are my friends, obviously. On the, in my pictures, you can see the kids' costumes. Like, they were astronauts. She was, she's always a version of a pony, like Princess Celestia, Twilight Sparkle, like all of the ponies, because she's a Pisces, right? So she likes unicorns and rainbows, like, what's up, right? And Bliss is always like a bit more like cerebral with her costume choices. And so, like, we had to make a collar. Okay, but we had to be me. But she was cutting out the wings for me and painting them. Okay, so those of you, hey, Rebecca, what up? What time is it there? You know, me and Rebecca have been friends for like a billion years. So many of you have online businesses, want online businesses, or like want to have online businesses that make money. So we're going to talk about like how to do that, right? And one of the things that I stress, and Ms. Debbie will tell you, Jessica will tell you, like all the people in the, Heather will tell you, all of the people that are in like the Yay Rad family, you have to differentiate yourself. Like, it's not optional, not maybe. You have to be able to clearly articulate in a cool way how you are different to the bot 22, okay, 22 minus 12, 10 o'clock. Yeah, it's still on U.S. time. You guys do that military time over here. You have to be able to clearly identify and articulate to your people or to the, you know, what problem you solve and how you solve it in a unique way. And this conversation actually came about because I had a virtual VIP day with a client yesterday who I had no idea was a grandma. Like, I was shocked because she is like foxy. And she's in the RAD community. And she's done like these really cool things, and she's a grandma. And I was like, and she does like SEO. And like, for those of you who don't know, SEO is search engine optimization. It's like the way that you get found on Google, right? How your website is showing up. Like when you type in a Google search, it's how your people find you, right? And so we were just talking, and she was telling me all this other stuff. And I was like, yeah, but how often does a grandma do SEO? Like when you think of grandma, you don't think SEO, right? So now, you know, she's doing that, and it's like, it's just killer because she's clearly identifying and articulating how she's different, because we don't trust grandma, right? I mean, I don't even have a grandma, but I would trust one. And it's a way for her to create a category of one. How many grandmas are doing SEO, right? I think I have lipstick on my teeth. Sorry. If I do, just ignore it. Anywho, so when you are wanting to make money online, even with your information products or your services, you know, really consider how you're going to communicate that. Right, Debbie, you do know about SEO because you're online, right? Right. You need to clearly articulate in your messaging in a lizard bait way how you are different. And so when you don't do that, your market cannot hear you. Now, I know many of you just look online and everybody goes, I empower. I guess that's like a catchphrase. I help people empower themselves so that they feel confident and happy and purpose-driven lives. No, right? Everybody is saying that. Those words mean absolutely nothing to the buying brain, right? You need to be able to cut through that noise so that people can hear you. And there are 10 ways. There's actually 21, because you know I always come with notes. There are actually 21 reasons that people that are making you invisible to people online, but I'm going to give you 10 because I don't want to overwhelm you. So here are the 10 reasons why people just aren't listening to you. Now, and it has nothing to do with your skill. It has nothing to do with your mindset. It has nothing utterly forgettable. It literally marks you irrelevant to the prospect. And you know what sucks is when the buying brain of your prospect says you are irrelevant, then you're like pushed into a category and then you are like there forever. You forever become irrelevant. How sucky is that? Right? And you don't want to be irrelevant, right? Because you're not relevant. Like the brain doesn't go, okay, well now you're relevant. Like it doesn't work that way because we have to compartmentalize. It's interesting, like once they label you like, okay, you're a business coach, in their minds are like, okay, I already have one of those. Like now you're in that category, so they've decided how they're going to treat you. And you never want to do that. In a sale, he who controls the frame controls the sale. And the frame is how you want them to perceive you and receive you. And you need to be in control of that. But that's like a whole other conversation that I teach in Rad Noise Domination. And of course, get it because it's good stuff. Okay. Number one, these are in no particular order because any reason you're not being listened to is sucky, right? So this is just like, totally random. All right. Number one. I am not listening to you because I'm listening to myself. Right? So your messaging has to immediately answer in 150 milliseconds what's in it for the other person, right? What's in it for your prospect? Like literally, what's in it for me? Like what do I get? What do I get for listening to you? So are you going to create some curiosity? Like what kind of emotion you notice like when you know that someone has some tea, or tea, not tea to drink, like some scoop, you're like, ooh, scoop, right? There's like something physiologically that happens to you, right? You're like, ooh, I want to know, right? Okay, that's what happens to a buying brain, right? There's something that physiologically happens when you create curiosity for someone. And if it's different for the buying brain, that feeling happens. That feeling opens the space for you to be able to talk to them about something that you want them to do, right? So, they're walking around, people are walking around listening to their own self, right? You have to be able to create that feeling so that they'll start listening, okay? All right, another reason why is you're using abstract, neutral statements, like empower, right? It's very abstract. Like, what does that mean, right? You don't want to do that. You need to be specific in how you are communicating the result that you provide, right? So you can't say, well, I empower you, or I'm a coach, I'm a consultant. It's too generic. If the buying brain or the primitive brain, the lizard brain has to think, it will shut you off because it doesn't want to have to think. It wants you to tell it specifically who you are, why you're there, and what you want, right? It needs to be that specific. Remember that, okay? It can't be generic. Coach, consultant, strategist, performance, take those words out of your freaking vocabulary. They are useless and mindless, and the buying brain does not care, okay? And I know some of you are like, oh, I'm business coach. Yeah, so doesn't matter. And this isn't me, this is science, right? This is scientifically proven stuff, right? It just can't comprehend. If you walk up to someone and you say, I'm a life coach, and they're like, well, what is that? What does that mean? I'm a life strategist. I do life mastery. What is that? But if you say to someone, I help people, do something specific, and I get them a specific result and a specific amount of time so that they can have a specific thing, now they're listening, right? Because it's related to what they want, right? It's related to a desire. It's what's in it for me. But to say to someone, I empower you, first of all, let me also add, people don't want to be empowered because it implies work, right? Coach implies that I'm going to have to do something. And if I have to do something, I'm going to shut it down, right? That's the buying brain, right? It doesn't want to have to think, do, go, anything. It just wants to feel good, feel happy, feel curious, feel, oh, okay, I know exactly what's going on. It does not want to have to think, right? So don't use that neutral language of that stuff. And there is a list in Rad Noise Domination that you can totally check out. I have all of the forgettable words on that list. Get it, use it, remove those words from your vocabulary immediately. And thank you for the hearts. Okay, another one is you're boring. because you're overloading it with too much information, right? So like if you say to someone, I empower you to be confident and this and this and this and this and this, it's too much, right? The brain's like, okay, that's a lot. Like I don't even, right? So if you say to a mom like me, I will help your son be able to sit in, so, you know, my native striker has special needs, right? So if you say, I can help your son sit at the table longer, I'm listening, right? But if you say, well, children with special needs, they have different challenges, every child is special and unique, and I empower the parents, I empower you, the parents, to know how to address these challenges head on, right? Like, you were lost at like, what? So that's a no, he can't sit at the table? Or, see, that's how you want to address it. You have bored them. So they checked out. They're like, okay, that's that's too much information. I just want to know if he can sit at the table, right? Okay, so that's another one. Number 3, you're not using street language. Lord Jesus. Okay, so many, just scroll through the feed and you'll see what I'm talking about, right? Like everybody has the same words, everybody's saying the same thing, and they're not using street language. Just like I did. Can you help my child sit at the table, right? Clear. Most coaches and consultants in this online space use this kind of language that, well, we empower the parents to have higher performance so that, not even so that, we like high-performing children so that children with these needs feel adequately prepared. I just want him to sit at the table, right? Or I just want him to tie his shoes. I just, you know, and it's the same thing. When you're using that type of language, you know, I've got someone that I was like, I don't even know what that is. I mean, like the words were so big. I mean, I knew what the words were, but I was like, I don't know what she does. It was like high performance and strategist for an optimal. I was like, so that's a no on the info product, or like you can't do that. Because if the brain has to think, it's not going to do it. It's totally going to mark you irrelevant. Okay, that's another one. Another one is you label yourself. Don't do that. Most people say, I am. Take those words out of your vocabulary. I am is a money crusher, right? Because as soon as you say I am, the other person thinks, I know what you do, and I'm no longer listening, right? So if I come up to you on the street and I say, I'm a lawyer, you think, oh, I know what lawyers do. Got one, don't need it, see ya, right? You totally dismiss me. Never, ever, ever label yourself. And it's interesting because everybody out there is like, oh, I need a title. Why? Oh, I need a title, I need a niche and a title and a niche and a title. Ooh-wee. No, you don't. And you're actually better off without one. I think someone actually emailed me and was like, what, okay, but what's your title? I was like, I don't have a title, right? What I do, I help people, or I empower, no, I'm kidding. I never say that. Just being if you're paying attention. But for real, like, don't ever, like, label yourself. Once you say I am, the other party has control of the frame. And remember, control the frame, control the sale, right? Think grocery store. And I think I gave this example in Rad with Domination, right? Think grocery store. You go to a store and like they set up the store how they want you to buy, right? Because if we had it our way, we do it differently, especially those of us with small children and those of us with a lot of children, right? We would want like everything we need like right there, right? Like if I had a store, I put everything for the cake like right in one section, like cake section, right? But that's not what they want you to do. In the stores here in Europe, they have playgrounds, like literally they have playgrounds inside of the store. And then guess where the playground is? Right next to the candy section, right? So the cookies and the candy, and then they put, what's it called? Not the macchiato, what's it called? An espresso machine. So the espresso machine is right next to the kiddie playground, which is right next to all the candy in the store. That shit's deliberate because they are controlling the frame, right? So that's how you have to do in your messaging. You have to control the frame. Don't label yourself. No more I am. I am not. Remove it from your vocabulary because people will check out. They already have an idea of who you are and they decide, these people I treat a certain way, right? If someone says to you, I'm a telemarketer, right? You think, okay, well, I'm going to treat them this way because this is how telemarketers are. You're like lumped in to a category of people and you don't want to be lumped in because you won't get out. Okay? Next one. Let's see, because there are 21, so I'm picking which ones would be most relevant. What you do is intimidating, right? That's another one, right? When you use all of that fancy, how's it going? Great. Cool. When you're using all of that fancy language, that fancy schmancy, high performance optimizing, optimal empowering, people don't know what that means, right? And when you're using that fancy language, you intimidate people. And one of the biggest objections, and we addressed this in the Youre Blast actually, as part of the whole Youre Blast formula when we create products that sell. Right? One of the things is buying objections. And one of the biggest is the person's belief that they can actually accomplish the results. That's why if you notice, ugly squeeze pages convert better. Ugly websites get more Google love because they're less intimidating, right? I know many women think, oh gosh, I need to get my Chanel bag and go stand in the street and pose for my photo shoot. That's for you, right? And there may be a segment of the population that's into that. But by and large, if you want to have high conversions, plain works. Because people, raw, vegan, plant-based, you got that right. We got to come up with something for that, Bridget. Because that's scary. That's scary. So you need to be able to make it accessible to your prospects in plain language, in plain street language. Like Bridget just used the example, raw vegan, yeah, I would just be like, oh God, raw food, what the hell? That intimidates me, right? And I'm a bacon lover, so there's that. So you have to be able to communicate that in a way that I would see like the benefits of it. Like if you were like, hey Tiff, do you want to be hot and eat apples? I'm like, oh, okay, well sit down, listen. Because I like apples and I want to be hot. So that's how you have to be able to talk to people, right? Like you have to speak in language that doesn't intimidate, right? And that, they in a result-based way. Okay. Another one is, okay, you're not using visual language, right? Many of you, when you're doing that, right, love apples. I do love apples. Many of you are using that flowery, fluffy, I see all in the feed language, right? Okay, when you use that kind of language, it's not visual, right? It doesn't create a picture. And people tell you all the time you need to talk in stories or you need to tell stories to sell. And to some degree that's true. But you can't just tell some random story. The story needs to be relevant to your prospect, right? So I am a mother of a special needs child. So the story needs to be relevant to me. So you can tell me a story of a mom who was, so like a good example, a good opener would be like, if someone said, what do you do? Well, well, I can tell you the story about one of my clients that lost, okay, we'll use Bridget's example, right? Raw vegan, right? So someone comes up to her and says, hey, what do you do? And she's like, well, you know how women over 50 struggle with metabolism? Well, I show them how to drop weight and eat apples. How cool is that? Apple pie, apple this, apple that. Right? So now they're like, really? I can lose weight and I don't have to starve and I get to eat apples? See, like that's like a really rough example, but that's showing that's much different than I'm a weight loss coach. Or I'm, right? Or I'm a raw vegan coach, or I'm a this, or that. You give it in terms of a result that you provide, right? So if you're selling potty training, let's say, and say, well, if someone says, you say, well, potty training doesn't have to hurt. It doesn't have to hurt the parent, and it doesn't have to hurt the kid. I created the pee-pee song, right? So now you're like, oh, damn, that's really cool. The pee-pee song? Okay, there actually is a pee-pee song, and I created it. I created it for the natives. Hey, Lois! So that's something that you would do, right? That's how you would speak about what you do, right? You need to speak about it in terms of results that someone would get in working with you, right? In terms of your transformation. And just pick a few, right? A few little, little nuggets. Oh, we call them Brad charmers, don't we, Lois? Sorry. Don't we call them that? We call them charmers, right? Because they're like charming. They're like and the snake comes out. See, think of your buying brains of the prospects as, those snakes coming out. And you're like, see, visual language, right? Okay, and you can use that, by the way. All right. Let's see. Another one is, I'm looking for ways for you to not sell me anything. So, people don't like to be sold to, interestingly, but they love to buy, right? We love to buy because it actually, something physiologically happens to us when we buy stuff. So, when you are speaking to someone, don't try and sell them stuff. Right? We want them to almost like desire us. We call it brain crave, right, over in the RAD community. So like they're craving what we have before we've even said it's for sale. I love when my clients, they go through RAD domination or something like that, and they're like, hey, I want to work with you. Like they tell me I want to work with you. I don't think any of you in the community have ever heard me say, hey, come and work with me. Because I don't. That's like, ew, right? I mean, yes, you need to make a call to action and stuff like that, but they will tell you and attest to you. I don't ever offer, hey, come and get a VIP with me. Hey, come and work with me. If you don't work with me, shame on you. You don't love your dream. I don't do that because I want you to crave what I provide as a way to communicate who you are and what you do that's unique and can get you heard, and how to use leverage to make money. Like without being like a scammer or a shamer or sleazy or any of that stuff. Like we don't roll sleeves. We roll straight up. Here's what we got. We want to help you. Win-win. It's the Hippogenic way. Okay, so that's another one. People don't like to be sold to, but they love to buy. So you need to give them a reason to buy from you, right? And keep in mind these two things. People buy to solve problems, right? And we talk about this often. They buy to solve problems, or they buy to forget that they have problems. So if you can get them to buy for both of those reasons, right, then yay, right? It's a gift that, people that have worked with me, I just feel so honored. I mean, God, I'm like the luckiest chick ever because, like, they take action. Hey, Tiff, I want to work with you. All right, let's get started. We get started, I give them stuff, and they are on it and doing their thing, and, like that's what you want anyway as anybody who's in the transformation space, right? Because in the new connection economy, speed, implementation, and results. You've got to have those in everything you say and do. Okay, what was that? 6, 5? I don't know. Another one is, this is a good one. Before you even opened your mouth, I made judgments about you. That's why they're not listening. Before you even open your mouth, they've probably made at least 200 judgments about who you are and what you do, right? And how do you overcome that? Well, you just open your mouth, right? And then they find out that their judgments are true. And hopefully there is something that creates like this disconnect that they want to listen because there's so much contrast. Now, if someone looks at me, they don't immediately go, hey, this lawyer. I get that. When I had my law practice and people would come into my office and I had on jeans. I think I have pictures on my website. Like I had on jeans and like, a shirt and some boots. And that's always sort of been my thing, right? So there's a disconnect. They've already decided, yeah, I really don't want to work with her. Don't make them right? Don't make them right by you opening your mouth and letting that nothingness fall out with that, I am a life insurance person. I am a coach. Don't make them right about you. Because once they're right about you, they're in control of the frame, and that's that. Okay? Was that 6, 7, 12? I don't know. Okay. Okay, we talked about labels. Okay, another one is the buying brain is they have to categorize you. And we talked about this before. Once the brain categorizes you, once it labels you telemarketer or lawyer or whatever, it no longer will listen because it's put you in a box. And we all hate that, right? Because we're like, hey, I'm not like everybody else. But once you've labeled yourself, now you are. And it's hard to get out of that box. Okay, let's see. This one's kind of rude, but it's not personal. Okay, so let's say, I want to run off. Yeah, another one is, I don't understand you. I think we're at 10. Are we at 10? I think we're at 10. I can't see the comments, so I'm just going to say we're at 10. Okay, another thing is that they don't understand you, right? You're not using that plain old street language. Not by street, I don't mean like, like you're from the street, unless that's where your prospects are, right? Because if that's where your prospects are, then you need to talk to them in language that they understand. But what I mean is like plain, simple language. So if you are looking at me and you want me to get on this raw vegan train, you can't come at me with like raw vegan, because like, whoop, not listening, right? You have to come at me with something that I want, like hotness, right? I want to be smoking hot like I was before I had all the natives. Now I'm listening. Okay, maybe not use natives, but I use natives, right? So you have to be able to, to do that. You have to be able to articulate what it is you do, right? And so that they go, oh, okay, yeah, I want some of that. I crave that. And many of you, when you're like, I empower you to be confident. I empower you to be happy, right? Happy is relative. Happy isn't concrete. But if I say to you, I empower, Lord, I need to get rid of that word, that you create a situation or you paint a picture like, imagine yourself having the best massage on the beach in, Malibu with some hot guy or hot girl or both, I don't judge, massaging you from head to toe. Now, I'm like, okay, that's what happiness is. So you can't just say happy. You have to describe what happy is. You can't say, I help you feel better. No one wants to feel better. They want a specific result, right? So if you're selling something for pain, you can't say, well, I help, my product will help you with arthritis. Okay. My product will help those of you with rheumatoid arthritis who've been suffering for 4 years be able to walk. Big difference, right? Big, because now it's concrete. Okay. My product will get you up and swimming. You remember back when you could swim before your diagnosis? My, Reiki techniques will get you up and swimming, right? That's different than my product has a holistic approach to healing. Because what does that mean? And I'm going to tell you, most people are clueless about what holistic means. So stop using it. It's on the forgettable words list. Okay? Yes, there is an actual list. Okay. Let's see. We talked about visual language, street language, neutral statements. Do you guys have any questions? I don't know how to scroll, so I guess that's probably a dumb question. But if you have a question, please feel free to post in the chat, and I will definitely get to it because I go back and I go. And I'm doing this early today, so I'm not like it's not 3 a.m. Okay, finally, this one is huge. You have to speak in language that arouses emotion, right? It has to go, right? Because the buying brain doesn't have a capacity for language. That's why the neutral statements or the empowers and the coaches and all that stuff that is subject to interpretation doesn't penetrate the lizard. That's why they just mark it irrelevant, because they don't know what that means, right? They have no connection to it. It doesn't make you feel anything. It's ambiguous. You can't feel ambiguity. I say this time and time again. You can't feel anything, right? When you're like, yeah, right? You just feel I feel ambiguous. And we know a confused mind doesn't buy. So you have to be able to arouse emotion. And curiosity does that, right? If someone says, girl, I got the tea, you feel something. You're like, well, I really want that tea. I really want to know what is being talked about, right? I want that scoop, right? Or, you really want to create that sense of curiosity or wonderment. You want to make them go, right? Like the idea of my son being able to sit at the table arouses emotion for me, right? Because I know as a mom of a child with special needs, what that takes for him to do that. And what that takes, the toll that it takes on the rest of the family, right? So when you're talking about what you do, inject some juice, inject some life into what you do. Don't say, I'm a life coach, right? Because it doesn't mean anything. Don't say, life mastery. It doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. You can't feel that. What does that even mean? I'm a master of life? Like what? And how would I do that? Where do I begin? And who do I master? And for some, it might even have like, yuck, because I don't want to be a master, right? I just want to be able to get a boyfriend. So you need to say in those simple words, like how would you like to this time next year be walking down that aisle at your dream wedding, that wedding that you thought about when you were 5 years old. See, now you're like, oh, I just painted a picture, right? That's visual language. I said you imagine yourself, so you're there and you're having an emotion about it, right? And that's what you want to do. Even if it's weight loss. Let's say you want to sell like raw vegan stuff to brides. That's an excellent way to do that. Talk about what they get. How sexy are you going to feel on your wedding night? You're wearing that nice corset and your man looks over and he thinks this is the only woman for me. He would be so lucky to touch that body, right? See, all women, we feel that. We're like, oh, hell yeah. I don't even have a husband and I felt that one, right? So that's the kind of language that you want to be able to speak to because it arouses something. And it can be done in any industry. Most people think, oh, I have to sell money-making products to make money. That's not true. You do not. You don't need to sell money to make money. You just have to sell a transformation, really. And not even sell, just teach. Because that's what we do in the Yay community. We teach, right? And then make an invitation, like, okay, here's some stuff. This will help you. If you want, come on in. Because we know this stuff works. And that's just how we work. Hey, Tamika! Okay, so that's it. I'm actually getting ready to sign off and finish costumes. Still got to do a skirt, a shirt,